absolute gorgeous day. It's June the 15th, and yesterday afternoon we had some showers come through. We didn't get much though, enough to make the road wet a couple different times, and we were wishing for a good soaker. We're not dry yet, but it's supposed to get really hot here this next week. They're saying a whole week here in the 90s, a couple days even in the mid-upper 90s. They're not talking about any chance of rain now for the next 7 days. There's no rain in the forecast, so we're hoping and praying we'll get something sometime. But as far as today, it hasn't been real hot the past week, but it was a little more humid the last day or two. But then we had that fronts go through, and I don't think there was a whole lot of rain with it. As you watched on radar, a few people might have got a few showers, but nothing real major. And this afternoon I'm going to do the feeding. I normally do the feeding in the mornings, but my son is away today, my oldest son, and they went with our youth group on a work day at a boys camp. And so I'm going to be doing the feeding this afternoon. So it's been quite a while since I did anything with the feeding on the video. I'll try to get a little video here, and normally I do feed in the mornings too, so this will be in the daylight. You'll be able to see things a little better. They got the first milkers on this afternoon. I've got the fans running full blast. It's kind of noisy in here, but got a couple fans, all the fans going out here in the holding area too. A couple calves here in this pen. We've been breeding more and more for polled cattle. That would mean they're born without any horns. Usually that one right there is polled. That red line back there is polled. They have more of a rounded look on their heads usually. That one laying over there is not. She would have been one that my daughter would put dehorn fixed on. But it sure is nice not to have to worry about dehorning them. There's a group of calves, or this group of calves we just started weaning here yesterday. They're about 7 weeks old, I think. They're actually grew very well. I probably should have started weaning them a week or so, about a week ago. The way they look, they probably about could be weaned by now, the way they're doing. We have fans here in our calf barn area where we raise our calves. They kick on by a thermostat. I think I mentioned about this tube ventilating fan before. It still runs in the summer too. But and then the fans, when they kick off, like in the evening when it cools down, they usually kick off, but the tube ventilation's still running. Here's our youngest pen of calves. They just got put on the feeder here last couple days. A couple of these in this pen are polled. I believe there's at least 3 of them in here that are polled. Should be the next pen up. These in this pen are probably pushing close to 2 weeks old now, at least 10 days. Those in that pen are, the oldest ones are probably a week old, the youngest one's another 5 days. I think my daughter's going to start another group of calves here. She tagged last evening. She'll probably move them in that group tonight. They would have just been born probably in the last 4 to 6 days. But this is the next group. Each group gets a little bit older. We haven't had quite as many heifer calves born recently. Usually we're about not really running out of room, but we got another group to get started about the time we are moving a group out. And our pens we have here, when we started this group feeding with the nipple bar feeders, maybe some of you newer ones maybe never seen this or wouldn't have seen this. I'm flipping this one feeder up. They have 6 nipples on them. We raise them in groups of 4, and we keep them in single pens till they're about anywhere from 4 days to a week old, and then we put them into groups. And when we started feeding these in groups like this, we used to have stalls in here, individual stalls, and we tore them out and just put some gates in here, and thought we'd maybe do something a little bit different, but it works out pretty good for us. But anyhow, I usually like to keep, like whenever I empty a pen out, as we're going around, like these are the ones that are emptied ready for new calves. There's 4 empty ones right now. We have 9 pens total. and so we'd have 5 with calves in right now. But I usually like to keep an empty pen in between the 2 groups so you don't have new ones going in right beside an older group. Plus it gives that pen a chance when we clean them out, we make sure they're cleaned out really good, and then we put hydrated lime, scatter hydrated lime all over the pens and kind of on the walls around it, kind of to disinfect it. And yeah, I was saying there, yeah, sorry, I got sidetracked there. But yeah, we usually try to keep at least 1 pen empty in between the new pen that started and then the next group that's getting weaned. So we usually have at least 7 to 8 pens with calves in, but right now we only have 5, 6, yeah, no, just 5. Yeah, it's not that we haven't been having cattle fresh, it's just we were having more bull calves, which the price they're bringing, that's not all a bad thing either. So here in our Springer pen, we had 1 calf born earlier today. Not sure if there's any others in here that are born yet or not, but there's a newborn calf. That's that one that escaped yesterday. Yeah, he's bawling, waiting on his supper. For those of you that are watching the channel that like linebacks, there's quite a few linebacks in here right now. There's a heifer over there that's springing. Here's one that's springing. Let me see. She'd be coming in with her 2nd calf. 2nd, maybe 3rd. I'd have to look. I believe she is coming in with her 3rd, according to her number. One behind her here is a Holstein. She's a polled cow. She's coming in with her 2nd calf. Over here's a heifer. She's a really nice looking heifer. That red one there, she's got a little bit of Jersey in her. I think her mother, I'd have to look back and show, but I think her mother was a Jersey cross, but she's just ready to pop about any minute. There's an older cow, that black and white one, Holstein going over there. But yeah, that little heifer there, hopefully she'll calve and everything will be okay. She looks like she'll do really well. We have a Heston Massey Ferguson 1393 disc bind, and yesterday my youngest son Alex was replacing some of the skids. There's like a I'm not sure what they call it, a skid plate down underneath here. There's 8 of them. There's these rotors on this disc bind spin around, and they go down underneath and bolt tight to the back, and 4 of them were getting worn pretty good. We actually had replaced the other 4 probably either last fall or this spring already, but yeah, they needed some bolts. We got them, and we need to get this all back together, if not this afternoon yet, by tomorrow morning, because, or sorry, tomorrow's Sunday. By Monday morning we're planning to mow some hay down Monday. I was saying about the feeding, I usually feed at least once, sometimes twice a week. Often it's probably about twice a week. For sure always on Thursday mornings, and often once on the weekend. And then I milk 5 or 6 milkings a week usually, mostly mornings as far as milking. Yeah, we feed just a little bit of straw to our milk cows, not a lot. It's about 3 slices off of one of these big square bales. It would come out to maybe about a third pound per cow. It's wheat straw from our own wheat. So yeah, there's about 3 slices here left from this bale, and then we'll have to get another bale down for tomorrow morning. But yeah, this is a tractor we load the mixer with. It's a Case IH Maxim 110. We've had it for, oh man, probably close 15 years now, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, this is the 2nd loader on it. The other loader was getting worn pretty good, so we put another loader on it probably 4 or 5 years ago. But yeah, the 2 tractors, it's probably the hardest to keep clean is the mixer tractor, the tractor that we run the mixer with, and the one that we load silage with, because yeah, we're always out here several times a day, rain or shine, using them. feeding out of 3 different trenches right now. The one trench has the triticale that was cut in the boot stage or the flag leaf stage, and that's what we feed the most to them of as far as for protein. Yeah, what we did this year is got about 16.5% protein, I think it is. Yeah. Then we have another trench that has what we chopped there with it was headed out. We trickle a little bit of that into the milk cows, but most of that does go to the dry cows and heifers. Then we have corn silage in a trench and corn silage in an ag bag. Feed a little bit of bale wrap hay. We always have it right here in front of the trench 1, we call it, where it has our higher protein triticale in, and we figure the weight of that in with what we put in of this triticale. Right now we're only feeding about a half a bale a day of the wrapped hay. So yeah, you can see the other half a bale sitting there. That'll be for tomorrow, what we use for tomorrow afternoon and Monday morning. This wrapped hay is actually still left from last year. It's pretty decent stuff. It was the last cut, and had some of that Sudex in with it, and yeah, it's had pretty decent protein. Some guys load their mixer with a skid loader. We've always used a loader tractor. I don't know, I'm not saying the others wouldn't work, but this has always worked good for us. What we'd really like, I might have mentioned this one other time, is a small wheel loader. But this has always worked well, and we have what we have, and yeah, it's yeah, we have plenty of room to get around here and stuff. As far as it's not like we're crowded for space. I doubt you can see the numbers on here, but the scale head that shows the weight is right there on the front of the mixer. And yeah, with wrapped hay and out of that trench 1, we're feeding right there around 3,000, 3,100 pounds. Then we have 3 trenches here side by side, and we have our dry cow barn here and right beside that. And at the end of the dry cow barns where we keep our loader tractor sitting that we mix with. Then on the other side of the dry cow barn over here is where we have another trench. It just has one side wall and a back wall, and then we usually put an ag bag along the other side. That works out pretty good. The only thing you got to be careful of is you don't tear up the bag whenever you're either filling or feeding out. That can be a challenge sometimes. But this here is the late cut triticale that we would have chopped that was headed out, and yeah, we're put about a scoop of that in. It's a little drier, so it don't weigh quite as much, but yeah. One thing I will say I like about the ag bag, it's a little harder to pack it tight right along the edge of the bag, because you need to be careful when you're filling it that you don't catch it, but you can actually seal it up better than you can almost along a wall. And so yeah, we don't have very little spoilage there along that wall, as long as you keep the tires and everything on the way you should. But that ag bag there is what has the other corn silage we're feeding in. I'll get a scoop of that here as soon as I dump this in. Feeding, putting in about 12 or 1,300 pounds of that. So yeah, our total TMR that we feed for one feeding for our milk cows, let me see, I have to do some quick figuring here, would end up being around a little over 14,000 pounds, about 7 tons. That would include the grain and everything that we put in. And then we put about 1,200 pounds of whey in that yet too, so that would be, another, about 15,200 to 15,200 to 15,400 is what's actually going in a mix. But as far as forage and grain, would be right around 14,000. Ag bags, yeah, they make nice feed and all. They're so expensive to put up anymore, but yeah, it's just a lot of guys that still use them, and they're a little harder to keep after. The one we have there is on concrete. That's really nice. The other one we put up over here along the edge of the trench, that we did that direct cut triticale, the one we put up with that, it's on a slated lane that goes up along the edge. Yeah, this corn silage, whenever we fill a corn silage in a trench or put corn silage in a trench, we try to get it a little wetter. We like it somewhere in the range of 70%, and that's mainly because it packs a lot better and keeps a lot better. And yeah, we're getting near the end of it here, so it's starting to taper down. We probably have enough for at least another month or 6 weeks, if no more than what we're feeding. But yeah, what we have here that we're finishing up with is maybe even a little bit wetter than that. I think when we first started chopping that morning, we had no more started, and it started spitting a little bit of rain, and we kept going. It only spit rain for maybe 20 minutes, but it ended up there was about 10 or 12 loads there that was probably in the 72 to 74% moisture. But in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, there was just a little bit here at the beginning. But so yeah, that's part of why we're feeding a couple different corn silages instead of feeding all the wetter stuff. And it tested very well, and they're milking really good off of it. But the forage sample come back tremendous on all of our corn last year. But yeah, it's try to do what works out best for everybody involved, and then the cows. Yeah, we end up getting right at 9,000 pounds out here with everything that we get, and then we'll go into the feed room and start doing that. Yeah, I might say there, you've probably already seen that we have a Pat's 620 mixer. It holds 620 cubic feet feed, but then it's got that rubber extension around the top, so it's actually, I think that's supposed to gain you about another 100 cubic feet. And we need most of it. It's sometimes it's just about, it's not running over, but it's definitely full. When we pull into the feed room, we'll flip the scale head around, pointing the opposite way out there, and zero it out in here. And we first put grain in. Here's our control panels for all of our silos and feed bins. The grain that we put in is just a mixture of roasted beans and our minerals and all different, anything else other than commodities. And yeah, we put in 450 pounds of this. And we have two other commodities here that we put in. They're in two separate feed bins out here. We have 3 feed bins total. They both hold, all 3 of them hold a trailer load. So yeah, we can get trailer loads considered anywhere from 18 to 20, 21 ton usually. The one has that grain mix I was talking about. The other 2 we feed is corn distillers and soybean meal. Corn distillers is a byproduct of ethanol, and soybean meal, they just press the soybeans to get the oil out of them, and then what's left they grind up into a meal, and it's dry. We have 3 different silos. 2 of them are poured concrete. The one's a 20 by 85. We would have originally been a 20 by 60. That what Dad would have built back in the early 70s. I think maybe right around 1970. And later we had a 25-foot estates on top of it. So it's a 20 by 85. We have a 24 by 88. That one was built in 1995. So I guess it would be 29 years old. Then we have a 20 by 85 harvest store. that we keep high moisture corn in, or snaplage or ear leach, we call it. That one was built in the late 80s, I think maybe 1989, I think maybe. That would have been a couple years after my dad passed away. We had an accident in this 24/88 silo. I want to tell you about that sometime. And also we had a barn fire here back in 2006. Used to be a bank barn here. I think that was around the middle of August, somewhere near the anniversary of that. I'll kind of do a whole just an overall view of what all happened with that. Store is a bottom unloading silo, and there's a lid on the front of it here you close. There's two handles on the edges. You flip them open and that opens up this little lid. Whoops, I forgot to turn my conveyor on. Yeah, got to do that before I turn it on. What snaplage or ear leach looks like is they basically put a combine head on a chopper on a self-propelled 4-H harvester, and everything that pulls in, the whole ear of the corn, and then some of the husk, probably maybe a third of the husk, and it chops it up and rolls it, comes out processed, ready to feed. We've been feeding this for about, oh man, probably close to 10 years now or longer, and we really like it. Other mineral here that we feed, it's called SR65 from Redmond Mineral Company out in Utah, and it would have, it's 65% conditioner, like a clay conditioner, and then 35% salt. Yeah, they get 7 scoops of this in each of the mixes twice a day. We also feed a product called Energy Booster. It's kind of a bypass fat. We buy it by the pallets. The guy we get it from, we usually get about 5 or 6 ton at a time. So we put a 50-pound bag of that in each mix. We don't feed any dry shelled corn or regular shelled corn. We have this snaplage we use for energy, and then Energy Booster, and the roasted beans that are in the mix there, they would have some bypass fat. The oil in the roasted beans have a fair amount of energy in them. Our feed room needs a major house cleaning job in it too. We usually do that 2 or 3 times a year. We're going through the busyness of spring. I mean, we keep after what falls on the floor and sweep it up every feeding and clean it up, but there's always a little bit in the corners and the dust blows around, and yeah, with the busyness of the spring, that hasn't happened for a little while. The difference between corn silage and snaplage, most of you probably know this, but corn silage is the whole plant. They chop it off about, I don't know, 8 to 12 inches off the ground, and then the whole plant's just chopped up and turned into silage, where the ear leach or snaplage is just the ear. We're actually feeding out of both silos right now. The one silo is going to be completely empty here till we're filling this fall. The other one will probably still be close to half full. Turn the corn silage silos on. We turn the mixer on and start mixing it together. Probably to take 5 or 8 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes at tops. Put the corn silage and weigh in. Yeah, then when we're done with all of that, we'll be ready to run it out. You can't see the augers in there that are mixing it because they're buried, but there's 2. It's called a twin screw mixer, and there's 2 big old screw-like pieces sticking up that turn. Got big old knives on them that mix it all together. As far as the weigh, we have a tank outside here between 2 of the silos. There you can see it. It's up on a stand, probably 12 feet in the air. And there's a 3-inch pipe that comes through, in through the wall, and over it dumps it, or yeah, it flows into the mixer. We have a 3-inch valve here we open up that puts it in the mixer. There you can see it spraying in. We have about a 3-foot piece of feed the springers the same ration that we feed the milk cows, but we only feed them once a day. We feed them in the morning and then just push up in the afternoon. So in the morning, I probably showed you before, me pulling through there and feeding them. But in the afternoon, we bring everything up and feed just the milk cows up here. Right now we're milking, I think we dried some off yesterday. Was it 3 or 4 we dried off yesterday? We dry cows up every Friday morning and once a week. And yeah, we pulled 4 out yesterday. I think we're milking 296 or 7 right now. That's what we pulled out of there. Mixer wagon has a gearbox with 2 speeds, a high and a low. We always mix it in low. Then whenever we come up, we'll start running it out in low, and we're about halfway emptied out. We'll shift it into high and run it out the rest of the way in high gear. But here's what the ration looks like all mixed together. This would be that little bit of straws in there, the different grains, the 3 different ingredients of silage, 4 different grains there, the 3 different dry grains, and then the snaplage, and then the whey's mixed in there too. So there you can see in the mixer wagon, it's about half empty now. You can see a little bit of the top of the screws. There's a big door here on the side that opens up. It just flows out. There's magnets on this tray that it kind of slides down across. It's supposed to catch any hardware that would be in it. Yeah, you find stuff on there from time to time. There's the choppers that nowadays that chop the 4-H, they have magnets on them too. So, but still, with baleage and stuff, you never know when you might pick up something. We have alley scrapers here in our freestall barn. I probably mentioned that before. I know I did. There's that one on its way back. It's flipped up and the sides are pulled in. Yeah, this one is on its way back, and the one in the other alley would be on its way forward. Yeah, here in our Springer pen, I wanted to mention, I had said a little bit about our barn fire we had years ago. And when we rebuilt this barn, we built, it was a 70 by 132, I believe it is. Yeah, 70 by 132. And we had room for the holding area and a Springer pen in here, but our Springer pen was too small and yeah, just a little tighter than what we seemed like we were bedding it all the time, and it was never staying real clean. And so 2 years ago in 2022, the summer of 22, we added 68 feet on the end here, and it made it way nicer. We probably wouldn't have needed to add this much on. As far as for space, we have probably a little more space than we need at this point, but yeah, we added the 68 feet on the end and made a nice feed lane out along the edge here, clear at the far end. And you can see the original wall there up through the rafters of the old barn. They didn't take the metal off of that, the gable end, but we opened the rest of it up. And yeah, we don't know what the future holds here as far as what we'll do next, but it's, yeah, for some things we're considering doing down the road, we made it a little longer so we have plenty of space for that. Oh yeah, there's a cow that just calved last night during the night. She just calved with her second calf. She had a nice little red and white Holstein heifer calf. She's one of those kind of a tan and white cow, but her tan is so light tan you can barely see it in the middle of her other markings. You can see it there on her head and her ears a little bit, but yeah, she's really good cow. Or did well as the first calf heifer, and looks like she should do well with the second calf. Yeah, she had a really nice polled red and white Holstein heifer calf.
Just a regular morning out here in the horse barn where the goats are. We call it the horse barn, but there's more goats than horses. Goats are kind of funny. Like, that's a family of goats. And there's another family. I don't know where her other baby is. And then all the goats laying over here are all family. And then, yeah, all these, when I say they're family, it's like the moms had babies, and then their babies grew up. Like if it was a nanny, we would have kept it. And then they had babies, and they still think they're a part of each other. But yet, you know, they like each other, but yet when they lay down, they just lay as families. There's 3 goats we would have bought, and they all came from the same place. And then we have these 2 little bottle babies, still feeding them bottles.